Welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we are tackling the ultimate challenge, the one thing that makes even the most dedicated, hardworking science students break out in a cold sweat in the middle of the exam hall. Yes, we are talking about the math inside of physics. Specifically, we're looking at Cambridge Syllabus Code 0625, but these principles apply across the board. Now, think of a master jazz musician. A jazz musician can improvise, play wild solos, and create magic, but they can only do that because they completely fundamentally understand the underlying structure of music theory and scales. They know the rules before they break them. Physics is exactly the same. You need the structure of math to confidently improvise through complex, unseen exam questions. Right now, I want you to picture two students taking a past paper. Let's call them Alex and Sam. Alex is the overloader. Alex memorizes every raw physics fact, every definition, but provides absolutely zero mathematical analysis when faced with a data question. On the other hand, we have Sam. Sam rushes, completely panics when seeing numbers, and completely misses the specific command word requirements in the question. Both of them are hemorrhaging marks, and today we're going to fix that. Our goal is to completely break down that barrier between mathematics and physics using a brilliant resource as our guide, the Cambridge IGCSE Physics Math Skills Workbook. Let's jump right in and get you those top marks.
Okay, let's dive into this right away with a quote directly from the introduction of this workbook. I think this perfectly frames our mission today, and it's the exact reason why Alex, our first student, is losing points. The quote says, "Understanding mathematics is critical to making sense of physics, as physicists use equations to explain how one variable behaves in relation to others." I absolutely love this because it acknowledges that math is often seen as a roadblock, but it fundamentally reframes it as the ultimate key to understanding the universe. You aren't just doing math for the sake of doing math, you're learning the actual language physicists use to decode reality. Alex struggles because Alex tries to explain physics with just words, but physicists use equations to explain how variables relate. For instance, knowing that speed equals distance divided by time lets us work out exactly how speed changes when time is lengthened or shortened. When you embrace the math, you aren't just memorizing, you are analyzing. That is the power of this connection, and it is the first step in our exam strategy.
To get you playing physics like a jazz musician, we have a highly structured roadmap for today's Explainer, which is essentially your physics success blueprint. First up, we're unpacking the math-physics connection to establish our groundwork. Second, we'll look at the complete physics ecosystem so you know what tools you have at your disposal. Third, we are diving deep into the 6 core mathematical skills that you absolutely must master. Fourth, we'll explore features for independent learning, turning you into a self-sufficient study machine. And finally, mapping your exam success, where we put it all together. This structured agenda mimics the highly organized, syllabus-driven nature of the workbook we are exploring. If you stick with me through all 5 of these steps, I guarantee you'll look at your next past paper in a completely different light.
Let's transition into our first section, the math-physics connection. Why is this specific intersection so incredibly crucial, and how do we bridge the gap effectively when the clock is ticking down in the exam room? We need a strategy. We need to look at how top students structure their physics answers. Top students use something called the PEEL framework. Point, evidence, explanation, link. Now in physics, your evidence and your explanation almost always involve math, data, or formulas. When Sam, our rushing student, looks at a question, Sam completely ignores this framework. Sam just scribbles down a number and hopes for the best. But when you understand the math-physics connection, you make your point, use the math as evidence, you explain the relationship using a formula, and you link it back to the specific command word in the question.
The secret weapon to mastering this PEEL framework is exactly what's on the screen right now, the Physics for Cambridge IGCSE Math Skills Workbook. Authored by Jane Thompson and Kishan Sharma, this isn't just another textbook. It is a targeted solution to a very specific problem. It's a write-in workbook that was actually created in collaboration with the Association for Science Education. It explicitly focuses on the math skills that learners need to succeed in their physics course, whether you are taking 0625, 0652, or any other variant. It's designed exactly for the student who knows the theory but hits a brick wall when it's time to crunch the numbers. Now, before we continue and look at the method behind this, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon right now.
Let's get back into the core philosophy of this approach, which is summed up brilliantly right here. Applying mathematics to physics is very methodical, so it is worth learning how to do it. That is incredibly reassuring, isn't it? Math in physics isn't random, it's not magic. It is a methodical, step-by-step process. Remember our framework, PEEL? The math gives you the methodical structure for your evidence and explanation. This workbook explains exactly how data and graphs are interpreted by physicists. The beauty of this is that once you learn this methodical process, once you truly understand how to extract data from a table or draw a perfect line of best fit, you can apply that exact same method again and again. It's a highly repeatable toolkit. Learn it once and you will never ever have to panic, guess what the examiner wants to see. You are learning the rules so you can confidently conquer the exam.
But listen, a single workbook isn't enough on its own. You can't just study math and expect to pass physics. You need the whole picture. That brings us to Section 2, the complete physics ecosystem. We need to see how this math-specific tool fits into a larger framework of learning, because mastering Cambridge examinations requires a holistic approach.
The Math Skills Workbook doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It is part of a comprehensive, flexible array of resources designed by Cambridge University Press. The main course book covers the full syllabus, explaining the core facts and concepts. That's the stuff our student Alex loves to memorize. But Cambridge recognized that learners face very specific challenges that facts alone cannot solve. So alongside the main course book, there is a digital teacher's resource. There's a practical workbook to develop hands-on investigative skills, like handling apparatus and evaluating real-world data. There's even an English language skills workbook, because research showed that decoding the language of the questions can be a huge barrier. The Maths workbook sits right here in this dynamic ecosystem, providing dedicated, structured support specifically for those who find the mathematical content difficult. It's the missing puzzle piece for students like Sam, who rush through the math.
So, what exactly is inside this math toolkit? Let's move into Act 3, the transformation. In Section 3, we'll uncover the 6 core mathematical skills. This is where we take the red pen marks all over your past papers and transform them into green check marks.
The absolutely crucial point here is that the entire workbook is logically divided into these 6 foundational mathematical processes that every single physics student needs to master. Number 1, representing values. Number 2, working with data. Number 3, drawing graphs. Number 4, interpreting data. Number 5, doing calculations. And number 6, working with shape. Think about Sam for a second. Sam loses marks by rushing and not paying attention. But if Sam systematically masters these 6 areas, the rushing stops. Why? Because the math becomes second nature. If you can conquer these 6 fundamental areas, you can handle absolutely any curveball your physics exams throw at you. You won't just be calculating, you'll be using the Peel framework naturally, because the evidence and explanation parts will be deeply wired into your brain.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the workbook breaks these massive, intimidating concepts down into bite-sized, manageable pieces. Look closely at Chapter 3, Drawing Graphs. It isn't just one big confusing chapter that says, go draw a graph. It's separated into specific math focuses, like choosing axes and scales and plotting the points and drawing a best fit line. And it gets even more granular. Under choosing axes, it specifically targets Math Skill 1, choosing which variable goes on each axis, and Math Skill 2, choosing the best axis scales for accuracy. This step-by-step breakdown completely prevents you from feeling overwhelmed. You are just learning one highly specific, highly applicable skill at a time. So when the exam asks you to analyze a graph, you don't freeze. You mentally run through this exact checklist.
Knowing the skills is one thing, but how do you actually practice them so they stick? You need a system you can use when your teacher isn't around. That brings us to Section 4, Features for Independent Learning. This is where we build your self-reliance.
Throughout the workbook, there are distinct features designed specifically to guide your learning independently. This is the anatomy of your success. For instance, notice the lookout boxes. These are specifically designed to give you support in areas that students traditionally find really difficult. They help you complete the questions without getting utterly stuck and frustrated. It's literally like having an examiner looking over your shoulder, pointing out the common pitfalls, the exact traps that Sam always falls into before you fall into them yourself. Stop scrolling! Subscribe to our YouTube channel Ace the Exams at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. We've helped thousands of students improve by 2 to 3 grade boundaries. Join them right now by subscribing to @acetheexams_IGCSE and turn on all notifications so you never miss our weekly exam strategy sessions. Let's get into an interactive workshop right now, because this book builds a complete learning system through 4 scaffolded steps. Step 1 is the overview. Imagine I put a complex physics chart on the screen right now and gave you a 60-second timer. Could you extract the core trend? The overview teaches you how to do that data scan quickly. Step 2 is the worked example. This is our Find the Flaw challenge. The book shows you how it's done, which trains you to look at a flawed sample paragraph and instantly identify the sentence that's losing marks. Step 3 brings in practice questions. These aren't high pressure yet, they develop your skills.
And finally, step 4, exam-style questions. This is where we do our speed writing. Imagine a 30-second timer counting down on the screen. With the skills you've built, you can now write one perfect PEL paragraph, point, evidence, explanation, link, because you completely understand the command words defined by Cambridge International. You've decoded what they want.
Another absolutely fantastic feature for independent study, and a key part of what I call the time management matrix, is how the book visually distinguishes the curriculum levels. The Cambridge IGCSE syllabus has core content and advanced supplement content. Whenever content is intended specifically for students studying the supplement material, notice the specific arrow and bar indicator in the margin. Why is this a game changer? Because it means you can study incredibly efficiently. You focus exactly on what you need for your specific syllabus level without wasting precious revision hours on material you won't even be tested on. You are maximizing your focus and managing your time like an absolute pro. This is how you outsmart the exam.
All this practice, all these frameworks, they all lead to one place, our final section, mapping your exam success. We are going to take everything we've learned and build the ultimate cheat sheet recap so you can track your progress all the way to 100% mastery. Right at the beginning, in the introduction of the book, there is this incredible math skills grid. Now, the mathematical requirements for the physics course are vast and it's easy to get lost, but this grid breaks them down line by line and references exactly which chapters cover them. The grid maps out the specific requirements for number and algebra, allowing you to identify exactly where you have practiced each skill. This enables you to systematically revise every single requirement before test day. It is literally a map of the exam specifications.
And this brilliantly illustrates how you can use this matrix to take total control of your revision. If you look at basic operations, add, subtract, multiply, divide, the grid shows you practice this across chapters 1 through 6. But let's look deeper. Let's think about Sam again. Sam loses marks because he forgets units. Need to revise how to substitute values of quantities into equations using consistent units? Or maybe you need to review how to solve simple algebraic equations for any one term when the other terms are known. The grid maps out exactly where these are addressed. It turns revision from a stressful late-night guessing game into a targeted, highly actionable checklist. You are guaranteeing top marks by making sure no skill is left behind.
And it doesn't stop at algebra. This matrix also covers the much more complex areas like geometry, measurements, graphs, charts, and statistics. Even the most advanced requirements are explicitly mapped out for you. Need to apply Pythagoras' theorem to calculate the side of a right-angled triangle in a forces question? It's on the grid. Need to understand that the equation y equals mx plus c represents a linear relationship for a motion graph? It's there. Or maybe you need to determine the gradient of a line by actually drawing a tangent to a curved line, a classic high-mark question. It is all right here. You can literally track your step-by-step mastery of the entire syllabus. Your progress bar is reaching 100%.
We've covered the 3 rules that guarantee top marks: command word decoding, the PEL framework application, and the time management matrix. By breaking the math down into specific skills, practicing them methodically, and tracking your progress, you unlock a deeper understanding of the physical world. Students who implement these physics strategies see an average improvement of 2 grade boundaries, but only if they practice consistently with our weekly videos. Here's your final reminder. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Subscribe right now to @acetheexams_IGCE and click that bell. Don't let another exam pass you by. Drop a comment below with your target grade for physics and the biggest challenge you're facing. Our team responds to every comment. Like and share this video with a study partner. Ace the Exams. Your Cambridge success starts here.